The world watched in astonishment as former US President Donald Trump, in a move that sent shockwaves across the globe, unveiled his plan to take over Gaza. This unexpected announcement left many in disbelief, questioning the motives and potential consequences of such a bold move. Announced on February 7, 2025 during a joint press conference with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the plan outlines the forced displacement of over 2 million Palestinian residents. This controversial proposal has sparked a wave of reactions from various corners of the world. This dramatic declaration follows a pattern of controversial policies pursued by Trump during his previous administration and echoes earlier suggestions by his son-in-law and former advisor Jared Kushner regarding the displacement of Gazans. Kushner's previous comments had already stirred significant debate and concern. Adding fuel to the fire, Trump appointed real estate tycoon Steve Witkoff as his Middle East envoy, a move seen by many as indicative of his intent to treat the complex geopolitical situation in Gaza as a mere business transaction. Witkoff's appointment has been met with skepticism and criticism from various quarters. The announcement has drawn sharp criticism from international leaders and human rights organizations who have denounced it as a dangerous escalation of an already volatile situation. Many fear that this could lead to further instability and conflict in the region. The implications of Trump's declaration are far-reaching, with the potential to ignite further unrest in the region. Protests have already erupted in various parts of the Middle East, with people voicing their opposition to the plan. The international community now grapples with the ramifications of this unexpected development, unsure of what the future holds for Gaza and its people. Diplomatic efforts are underway to address the situation and find a peaceful resolution. The situation remains tense as the world awaits further details and reactions to Trump's audacious plan. The coming days and weeks will be crucial in determining the outcome of this unprecedented announcement. The impact of Trump's announcement has reverberated through Arab American communities across the United States, leaving many in a state of despair and disillusionment. The sense of betrayal is palpable, as many had hoped for a different outcome. Prominent figures within these communities, including former Trump supporters, have expressed their shock and disappointment. Their voices, once filled with hope, now resonate with a deep sense of loss. Faye Namar and Albert Abbas, founders of the Middle East North Africa Coalition of Communities, voiced their deep concern, emphasizing the potential long-term impacts on their community. With Namar penning a poignant letter to Trump contrasting his recent declaration with his past participation in a symbolic peace plaque signing. This letter has since gone viral, sparking widespread discussion. Dr. Burhan Ghanayem, co-founder of the Arab American Democratic Caucus, described a sense of disarray within the community. He highlighted the urgent need for unity and strategic action. This sentiment is reflected in recent polling data revealing a significant decline in support for the Democratic Party among Muslim and Arab American voters between the 2020 and 2024 elections. The numbers are stark and telling. This decline, attributed to continued U.S. support for Israeli actions, highlights the growing sense of alienation and frustration felt by these communities. The feeling of being unheard and marginalized is intensifying. The situation has left many questioning their political allegiances and fearing the potential consequences of Trump's plan for their relatives and loved ones in the region. The uncertainty looms large, casting a shadow over their future. The fallout from Trump's announcement has placed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in a precarious political position. While he seeks to maintain his close alliance with the former U.S. president, Netanyahu must also navigate the complex dynamics within his own government and the court of Israeli public opinion. Recent polls indicate that a majority of Israelis support the continuation of the ceasefire agreement and the release of hostages held by Hamas. However, Netanyahu faces mounting pressure from his far-right coalition partners, who advocate for a more aggressive stance against Hamas and view Trump's plan as an opportunity to further their own agenda. This complex web of internal and external pressures presents Netanyahu with a significant challenge. His ability to balance these competing interests will determine the immediate future of the Israeli government and its approach to the Gaza situation. Trump's recent declaration concerning Gaza is not an isolated incident but rather the latest iteration of his controversial approach to Middle Eastern politics. His statements have once again brought to the forefront the complexities and sensitivities of the region, highlighting the enduring impact of his policies. His tenure, both during his presidency and in its aftermath, has been marked by decisions that have inflamed tensions and exacerbated existing conflicts. From his rhetoric to his executive orders, Trump's actions have often been seen as provocative and divisive. The 2016 Muslim travel ban, implemented during his first days in office, targeted citizens from several Muslim-majority countries, causing widespread outrage and legal challenges, drawing accusations of religious discrimination and damaging America's reputation on the world stage. The ban was seen as a stark departure from America's values of inclusivity and freedom. The decision to relocate the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, a move long condemned by the international community, was another flashpoint in his Middle Eastern policy. Further inflamed tensions between Israelis and Palestinians, undermining any prospect of a negotiated peace settlement. This decision was seen as a unilateral move that disregarded the complex realities on the ground. These past actions, coupled with his recent pronouncements on Gaza, paint a clear picture of Trump's approach to the Middle East. One characterized by unilateralism, a disregard for international consensus, and a willingness to prioritize personal relationships and political expediency over diplomacy and peaceful resolutions. His legacy in the region remains a subject of intense debate and scrutiny. Section 5. A Kingdom's Gambit. In response to Trump's controversial plan for Gaza, a glimmer of hope has emerged from an unexpected corner of the Arab world. Saudi Arabia, a regional powerhouse often at odds with Palestinian leadership, has taken the reins of a bold initiative aimed at presenting a unified Arab alternative to Trump's vision. Details of the Saudi plan remain closely guarded, but sources suggest that it centers around a comprehensive approach to resolving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. This includes addressing the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, providing economic opportunities for its residents, and engaging in meaningful dialogue with all parties involved. The success of the Saudi initiative hinges on its ability to garner widespread support within the Arab League and persuade other key international actors, including the United States and the European Union, to throw their weight behind a peaceful resolution. Section 6. A world on edge. The international community has responded to Trump's announcement with a mixture of apprehension and condemnation. World leaders, diplomats, and human rights organizations have expressed deep concerns about the potential for further instability and violence in the region. The United Nations Security Council convened an emergency meeting to discuss the situation. While no concrete actions were taken, several member states condemned Trump's plan as a violation of international law and called for a peaceful resolution to the conflict. The European Union, a longtime advocate for a two-state solution, has urged all parties to exercise restraint and engage in dialogue. EU Foreign Policy Chief Josep Borrell warned of the dangerous consequences of Trump's plan and reiterated the EU's commitment to a negotiated settlement. The international community's response has been marked by a sense of urgency and a desire to prevent a further escalation of the conflict. Section 7. The Spectre of Renewed Conflict. The most immediate and alarming consequence of Trump's plan is the heightened risk of a renewed conflict between Israel and Hamas. The ceasefire agreement, already fragile, now hangs by a thread as both sides weigh their options in the face of this new reality. Hamas, facing the prospect of a mass displacement of Palestinians from Gaza, may feel compelled to respond militarily, viewing Trump's plan as an existential threat. Such a response, even if limited in scope, could easily spiral into a wider conflict, drawing in Israel and potentially igniting a regional conflagration. The situation is further complicated by the presence of hostages held by Hamas. Their fate remains uncertain, and any escalation in violence could have dire consequences for their well-being. Section 8. Between Hope and Despair. Despite the heightened tensions and the looming threat of renewed conflict, a glimmer of hope remains. The Saudi-led initiative, if successful, could provide a viable alternative to Trump's plan and pave the way for a more peaceful future for the region. The international community's condemnation of Trump's plan, while largely symbolic, demonstrates a shared understanding of the need for a negotiated solution and a rejection of unilateral actions that exacerbate the conflict. The coming days and weeks will be crucial in determining the trajectory of the crisis. The world watches with bated breath, hoping for a peaceful resolution, but bracing for the possibility of further turmoil. Section 9. The Unfolding Future. The situation in Gaza remains fluid, with a multitude of factors at play that could determine the ultimate outcome of this crisis. The decisions made by key actors in the coming days and weeks will have far-reaching consequences for the region and beyond. Will cooler heads prevail, allowing for dialogue and diplomacy to pave the way for a peaceful resolution? Or will the forces of division and extremism triumph, plunging the region into further conflict and suffering? The world watches and waits, hoping for a brighter future for the people of Gaza, but acutely aware of the challenges that lie ahead.